as businessmen, young entrepreneurs, what are some of the bottlenecks that have seemed to characterize this sphere, which should rather be a driving force?
Well, not just in the developing economies, for instance. Also in Nigeria, the SME is actually a great chunk of the drivers of the economy, because every day the bus drivers, the woman that sells on the roadside, the recharge card sellers, and everything. These are all the people that actually form an integral part of the economy, and they're all SMEs. So it's not just in abroad. Right here in Nigeria, Nigerians are hustlers. You can't take that away from us. Yes, and we hustle every day on the street. From here to your house, just check the number of people that actually sell things on the traffic.
The traffic, yeah.
So the everyday boy on the street, everyday girl on the street, they're actually out there hustling. You go on social media right now, people are selling clothes, they're selling air. There's a whole lot going on in Nigeria without lazy youths.
But then, as much as, small businesses, SMEs are supposed to drive the economy, it's not getting the much traction it should get from the government. They're not necessarily included in the grand plan. They're not included in when they're making those policies to ease the environment for them. There's not an enabling environment for these businesses to thrive. And I always make the example of the UK. It is majorly powered by small businesses as compared to the big businesses. Why are we not harnessing that potential which we have here? You're a consultant, so you'd know better.
Okay, so if you look at the economic value chain, it's a pyramid. So the question is, at the base of that pyramid are SMEs. And like you rightly said, I would not say that the government is not considering the SMEs when formulating policies. The question is, are they implementing to the downline? So the SMEs are on the base of the pyramid. The question is, when you formulate policies, can you ensure that it trickles down?
But the government of today would say that we have the NPower, we have the trader money, we have this whole lot more, and these are initiatives that are expected to support small, medium enterprises.
We had that conversation before we came on air to say, okay, so look at the Empower case in sample. How has that affected the average SME? Okay, so I open a store in Idumota, and every morning the tax guy has to come. I have to pay him money for radio, money for this, and when I'm finishing, I'm parking my car, someone is paying for that. So what is the value? The
profit margin at the end
that I am getting. How efficient am I able to turn around the capital? So there's a whole lot of challenges that the average SMEs face, and that's why the mortality rates among SMEs are alarming. In fact, we don't have SMEs, just have hustlers in Nigeria. I'm sorry to say.
Apparently, to buttress what you just said, 80% of new businesses in Nigeria, according to research, or startups, fail within the first 3 years. And that is really sad because, every day new business is birthed, if not every other minute of the day. People have interesting ideas, and sometimes I might be thinking of something. By tomorrow, there's a board out there saying the same thing I was thinking about. So why are they dying at that pace? Why are they closing up shop at that fast rate?
Okay, I saw statistics, doingbusiness.org, the member of the World Bank Group, says Nigerians ranking 169 out of 190 countries in ease of doing business. Starting a business, 138 out of 190. Getting electricity, 180 out of 190. Registering a property, 180 out of 190. Tell me, how do you want that business to grow?
That's what also brings me to my next question, because if we have, for example, the Bank of Industry on papers, there are so many reports of fantastic platforms and packages where small, medium enterprises can always tap into. But there have also been very sharp responses from businessmen that say, well, it's not so easy. There are a whole lot of bottlenecks that are created internally by the BOI to mention that funding isn't coming through, and they create a whole lot of challenges. Have you approached the BOI, and what were possibly some challenges or other reports that you might have heard?
Well, I'm not a friend of some of those organizations. I've actually had to hustle my way with funding and all of that.
Is it because of prior experiences that you had with
we actually approached the BOI at some point, and it was some kind of too much grammar. And I was like, you know what, guys, just stay with it.
Tell us about the experience. Let's hear.
Would like to hear, because there are other people who are watching and would want to know if this, because sometimes when you churn out these statistics or information, they feel like it's a bit too outlandish. But it's best to get fair, first-hand experience.
Information.
Yes.
Okay, so those funds are there by the government. There are criteria that must be met. The question is, do the average SMEs have those criteria? People access those funds. But the question is, what fraction of people can access those funds? So maybe 1 out of every 100 are able to access those funds, and that's a challenge. So I am a consultant. We package loans for people, and we've had people tell us, oh, we go to Bank of Industry, we access these loans. But one, the average SME has problems with his or her records. You can't go to the Bank of Industry without having financial records. You must have your financial statements, your income statements, you must have your expenses. The average SME cannot scoop up his data, his or her data. Where is your money? In and out. Those are the track record that the Bank of Industry
But
is
they do
looking at.
have basic bookkeeping methods, isn't it?
So if you must go to that level, you must take your game to the next level. The Bank of Industry will not ask you for basic book records. You must have a tax identification number. You must have audited financials. You must have a system. You must have a structure. You must have a sustainability
But you're a
plan.
startup.
Exactly.
If you are a startup and you are telling me that you're supporting startups and you know that startups cannot have tax identification numbers immediately because they have to build a certain profile to a certain level. The reason why it's called a startup is because we're just starting. So how do you
And even the registration of a business
Yeah,
takes a
exactly.
whole
Exactly.
long
So
while.
what we're saying now is the SMEs, what's the plan of survival or the chances of survival? Because there's a whole lot of also beyond what's called BOI. There's actually ease of registration of business. There's this, that. So it doesn't just stop at BOI stable. What about the other government agencies? What about the other infrastructural development that needs to come back to BOI? It is in the schools, for instance, it's just until recently decided taking entrepreneurship as a course. Now, that young girl, that young boy who is graduating from school, has he actually gotten to take basically a course in accounting, basic accounting, for
Or
instance?
even how to write a
bookkeeping.
business plan.
Oh, right, so that's a business plan. So by the time you get out of school, I'm proposing something like by your third year in school, you actually should be taking courses on entrepreneurship, how to write business plan and everything. So we have to look at the whole system holistically and say, you know what, like backward integration. That guy in 300 levels who's going to graduate next year, how ready are you for the market?
Apparently, entrepreneurship is just a GSS course, which is, I don't know if they started doing it in year 1 now, because at some point it was introduced in the 3rd year. That was the first time it was introduced. And it was just a GSS. It's not like it was practical in any way,
these are the
except
things
you
we
are
need
in
to
that
do.
department.
So they need to encourage you from secondary school, from university, and say, you know what, do a bit of buying and selling. You understand? So we need to really look at this thing and say the SME growth in Nigeria is not going to happen overnight. We need to be deliberate about it.
And talking about being deliberate now, we have to also look at the cost of doing business. You finally get to register your business. You finally have a little bit of funds, either from family, friends, or from other government agencies or from your bank. Now, one of the issues people have raised is that power at the end of the day consumes a whole lot
Absolutely.
of funds. How then what should we now be asking, or who should we be asking questions from? Because,
Ask me.
we are going into election season again, and then power comes to bear, because small and medium enterprises or businesses in general can't thrive if they're expending so much on fuel.
There's fuel problem, there's road problem, you understand? Now you're leaving from the island to the mainland, you're going to take another 2 hours and everything. That's, executive time and everything. So power, the average person runs. So we don't even make profit as SME, as entrepreneurs, as SME folks, because you make that money and you actually put it back into running the business. So at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? Most people are just doing business, as in we're just busy. We're not actually making.
Gamaliel, what about taxation as well? How has that brushed on you? Have you experienced multiple taxation?
It's a killer, and that is one of the things that stifles the growth of SMEs.